dad was in the National Guard, Illinois National Guard. He was a lieutenant or a captain. And they got called up, the National Guard got called up in the active force before Pearl Harbor. And we actually left Peoria. I was a real little kid. And went to Camp Forest in Tennessee, which is near Tullahoma. Lived in Shelby. And when he got down there, he was made a claims officer. And their division was having maneuvers and training, and they would go out in farmers' fields and that. And if they damaged the field, the farmer would have a claim on the government, and he would go and address and work the claim. So he's out every day to all the farms, and he used to take me with me. And I was low kid. 4 or 5 years old, I don't know. But I'd go with him. And he got to know some of the farmers pretty good, and this one farmer said, I saw this goat, and he gave me a goat. So I went home with my goat and put a chain around him, and I attached him to the door that led down to the basement, because you had to have a basement in case of a tornado. And a couple times he'd get loose, and I'd go get him, and he'd come back, and he'd be running so fast I'm holding on to this thing. I'd actually be flying because I was so little. But that was the damn goat. That's the first goat I had in Tennessee in 1941, before Pearl Harbor, because he got transferred to the Signal Corps of the Air Corps, and we went to Tampa, Florida, to the Drew Air Force Base at Tampa Airport. It's now the Tampa Airport, but it was Drew Field. So I was in Tampa, Florida when the war started. And I'd been in Tullahoma, Tennessee before that, in the fall of 41, and my first goat. My second goat was at West Point when someone in my class and the other class went down to Annapolis and stole the goat from Navy and brought it back to West Point. And on Sunday night before the Saturday we played Navy, we came in the mess hall, and in the middle of the mess hall was a big platform, and they had the Navy goat there. The place went wild. We were standing on the dining room tables, waving napkins, and just had a ball. And halfway through that week, some of the guys in my company organized, and they had roving patrols after tasks. Get caught, they were going to get big, guarding the goat, because they knew Annapolis would come up and try and steal it. And they were out guarding that goat. And then the superintendent agreed to give the goat back. And when one of the tactical officers found out that he was going to give the goat back, they went out and they coerced someone into telling them where it was. And a bunch of military police went out to the place where they were hiding the goat, and they took the goat and they put it in a military police car and drove it back to Annapolis. One of the tactical officers was George Patton's son, Major Patton, and he heard about it and thought it was terrible. And he called down to Fort Dix, and Fort Dix actually sent a squad of Army soldiers out to intercept that car taking that goat back, and they were going to take the goat back. But, we had a riot. It made the headlines of the New York Times and New York Herald Tribune. Goat riot at West Point. Went over to the superintendent's house and were complaining. It was, we want the goat. And we were really mad they took that goat back. And the damn superintendent gave it back to Annapolis. By the time the game came, we'd had a high and a low, and it was back to a high, and we beat the hell out of it. Then I had to go to Cameron Bay, and we were the Billy Goat squad. And if About halfway through, I said, we got to have a goat. And I ended up going up to a couple reporters came through, and I was the public affairs, had additional duty as public affairs officer for the squadron. And I was up in these two airmen's office that did public affairs, and these reporters came through, and I said, I really want a goat, and I can't find a goat. This little town next to Cameron Bay. Went down and looked, and they're so damn skinny, they didn't even look like a goat. They looked like a skinny cat. Anyway, they went up and they went to this big army place, so the next place they went, in the middle of the country. Can't think the name of it now, but it was a pretty big army. Anyway, they called back down and talked to the two airmen that ran public affairs, and they said the Vietnamese Special Forces up here at this army place, which is, they have goats. In fact, the colonel that runs that Vietnamese Special Forces, he has goats out in the front of his building, and they keep the grass cut. He's got a lot of goats. He said, you come up here, you can get a goat. So me and one of the sergeants in the public affairs office got an airplane, and we got a ride up to, I forget the name of that place. And before I left, someone said, well, you ought to take a sentry dog cage with you to bring the goat back. So we did, and that worked out because I ended up getting a goat. I bought it from a Vietnamese major. I went in to see the colonel, told him I wanted a goat, and he says, okay, I'll sell you a goat. You go with Major so-and-so and pick one out. And we went out to where his camp was on the base, and I found a goat we wanted, and we chased him down and got him. And I gave him a pair of Air Force sunglasses. And before I went out there, I didn't have any money, so I told this one sergeant, give me $10 because I might have to pay some money for this. And he slipped me some money, and I put it in my pocket. And when we were negotiating the goat, I gave him a couple patches. I showed you the patch with the billy goat on it. And I gave him my sunglasses, a patch, and I said, I got $10 to give you, and I pulled it out, and it was a $20 bill. Sergeant only had $20 to give, so I bought the goat for $20, sunglasses, and a patch, and went back and put him in that sentry dog cage, and that's the only way the guy would fly him back to Cameron. He says, oh, I can't fly it, got your goat back. What do you mean? He said, I can't do it, it's against regulations. He says, however, if you had a sentry dog, I could fly him back. I said, I got a sentry dog. But I stayed with that sentry dog till he got on that airplane, and we got back to Cameron. We got back to Cameron, and we put him in there, and I talked the squadron commander into letting one of the GIBs. A GIB is a guy in back, G-I-B, the guy in the back seat, a lieutenant. And I said, we'll see what GIB wants to take care of the goat, and if he takes care of the goat, the squadron commander will give him something, maybe a weekend off or something. And I got the civil engineers, and they built a fence, a rectangular fence around a platform that they built, that like a cube that goes up and goes, and that goddamn goat would stay in that fenced-in area, and he'd climb up on that cube and get up on top, and he'd look around the base like he was King Tut. I'm serious. That goat did that. He liked to get up and look around. And that Christmas, I snuck back to the States. Probably not too many people in the world did that, but I ended up getting back, and I got back before New Year's. There was a President Johnson or Nixon or somebody, Nixon declared a no combat over Christmas holidays. What a bullshit thing. But there was no combat, no missions, and we weren't going to start flying until the day after New Year's. And I got back
31st of December, and we were having a party in the club, and someone said the goat's missing. One of the other squadrons had stolen. They sent a ransom note over. They said, we'll give you your goat back if you invite us to your club, your hooch. We had the best hooch. We had the best hooch in Southeast Asia. So we invited their squadron over, and they gave us our goat back. But that was our goat. That's my 3 goat stories, Seymour.
Okay.
You didn't know I was a goat man.